Right, Iowa 88, Michigan 78. I posted some hot takes today on Twitter, and I wish I would have waited to post those because I had a really hot take that I want to get you guys' thoughts on before we get to the game. My hot take is that Juwan Howard will still be the coach of Michigan next year. It will actually be Phil Martelli that is the fall man who will get fired, and Juwan Howard will stay the coach. Sonny, your thoughts?
I pray that you're right. Brad Underwood 7-0 against Juwan Howard. You know, you could be right because all the Michigan people I talk to all say that he's coming back next year. It's the national guys who kind of say that he's gone. Just based on how the season has gone. So, but I mean, it's a hot take, but I think it's a take that's pretty common in the Wolverine community.
That's what I've been hearing from some Michigan people too, is that like at least the Michigan administration, like they don't view as poorly of Juwan Howard as the fan base or others seem to. Frank, what do you think?
I mean, I feel like it's a definite possibility. The entire situation is really just confusing. Last time I was on the show was right when Juwan might be getting fired tonight, like whole thing broke. The fight. But I'm Sonny. I'm in your camp in that I hope so. In that he's gotten really talented players, but he's kind of underperformed, honestly, in my opinion. He runs a really fun offense though. Like they really can manufacture some really good shots in some creative ways. They've been running some like 5-out delay. That's pretty fun to watch. So I do enjoy it from that perspective as someone who's really big into X's and O's, but I honestly don't know. I know the entire situation is extremely confusing though. And it's going to be a roller coaster ride this offseason with respect to what happens in Michigan for sure.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. And I mean, that's what Juwan Howard is known for, getting in good talent, but just not really being able to produce that talent to the expectations. And I'm not saying he finishes middle of the pack and in the Big Ten, he's last in the Big Ten right now. I don't know if he is by conference. No, Rutgers is last by conference record, but he has the worst record in the Big Ten overall right now. So, Sonny, Iowa beats Michigan 88-78. This was a good game for Iowa. Michigan was at home, and Juwan Howard did not have the Fab Five with him, so they did not beat Iowa like they did Ohio State. Sorry, I keep going back to them. I'm in pain right now. It's okay. Let me live. What were your thoughts on the game, Sonny?
I'm pretty sure Michigan was up at half because I remember scrolling through the scoreboard, and you kind of like, oh, are they kind of sort of figuring things out? And then I kind of checked back in on the game an hour, 15 minutes later, and it's a 10-point loss to an Iowa team that's just kind of okay. I want to say that I feel bad for him, but I don't. It's just a team where you have one really good basketball player and others, or you have another. I forgot was it Terrence Williams? Is that the name?
There's a few arguable. And Kamwa is good. Terrence Williams, he's pretty good. And
I do like
Doug
Terrence.
Daniel.
Yeah, Doug, of course, is. Yeah, Doug. Yeah. Again, the suspension thing makes no sense to me, but that's Michigan for you. It's just a team that's. We just talked about earlier about teams, Ohio State being, discombobulated. I have no idea what's going on in Michigan up there right now. I don't know who's coaching every game. Juwan Howard just seems to want to take days off or something like that. It's, I don't know. It's every year they seem to be taking a step down, and I'm very interested, and I have vested interest to see what happens. The remainder of the season, whether he can up his record a little bit, because right now, I mean, if they end up with 3-4 wins in conference, how do you bring him back?
I don't know. That's the same thing I'm asking. My other question I'm asking is, how is Jalen Llewellyn okay with what is going on with Doug McDaniel right now? Because he plays nearly 30 minutes in road games, but then they come back home, and it's like Juwan Howard just looks at him and he's like, "You can go sit the bench now. Doug's back." Study hall's not in session, so
I'm glad he brought that up because that's so weird. I mean, Llewellyn's played well too. And he's played well in the absence of McDaniel. And so like a Division I coaching staff can't figure out a way to get both those guys on the court together or manufacture offense through both of them. So looking into this,
Burnett is not, I mean, he's not anything special, right?
No, he's not.
I'm not saying
he's
bad,
a good player.
Special.
He's a good player, but yeah, he's not. He's a typical run of the mill Big Ten player. I mean, he's not in that upper echelon, let's say. Right. But I did some looking into like how much does Doug McDaniel change the dynamic of this team. When he's off the court, their net rating is 7.6. When he's on the court, it's 41.9. So effective field goal percentage goes up 10% when Doug McDaniel's on the court. True shooting goes up 10%. Turnovers decrease. Assist to turnover ratio increases. So they must see something because that's a drastic change in net rating to go from 7 to 42 with him on and off the court is crazy. But I'm going back to the Purdue Michigan game. Llewellyn played really well. I mean, I think he had over 15 points and was pretty efficient from three. And he was kind of the one guy that was giving Purdue trouble in what would have been an otherwise pretty easy win. But it's just, and my wife and I were watching a Michigan game and she was asking questions. She's doing a good job of trying to like learn some of the personnel. And she's like, so what's the story with Michigan? I'm like, well, their best player, he can only play in home games. And she's like, why? And I'm like, it's some academic thing. She's like, it sounds like he's on house arrest. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad you said it. It's like, there's a whole lot of like confusion. And she's like, I remember their coach. He punched the other coach from Wisconsin. I'm like, yeah, that happened. And then she's like, what's going on with him? Like, well, he just decides sometimes he doesn't want to coach. I'm not really sure. Like, it's just the weirdest season, for this Michigan team. I don't fully understand it, but with regards to this particular game, I mean, it was back and forth until the very end when Iowa finally pulled away, but Tony Perkins has been on fire lately. 20 plus points in 3 straight games now. I mean, Payton Sandfort had a really, really good game. And like every time Michigan started cutting it close or making it a game or would pull ahead, like he would hit that 3 to just like even things out. It's like, okay, like the run stops now, or like your ability to come back in this game like ends right now. It was just the timeliness of every 3 he hit. 6 for 8 is just a really, really efficient game from him. This is a game, honestly, I really had a difficult time getting into from like an emotional standpoint. It was just kind of boring, even though it was a high scoring game. It just wasn't a really entertaining game. And I don't mean no disrespect to either of these teams or their fans or anything like that. It just struggled to capture my attention.
No, I can see that. And just for reference really fast, Jalen Llewellyn on the road, he averages 25 minutes per game. At home, he averages 3 minutes per game. So I don't know. A power Big Ten Division I coach should be able to figure out how to distribute those minutes a little bit better. But back to your point, yes, Tony Perkins was excellent in this game, and Payton Sandfort, I mean, this is what you need from him if Iowa is going to compete at the level they want to compete at in the top half of the Big Ten. Now, I do think Iowa probably is the top half of the Big Ten team, talent-wise, and with who they should be, but I don't think they always play like it every single week, but they did go into Michigan and get the win there. And so you have to give them credit there with what they did. I really like Owen Freeman. I think Owen Freeman is the next star with this Iowa team. That's what I kind of talked about with them, was like, I didn't know who that star scorer was going to be, because you had the Murray brothers, you had Luca Garza. It's Garza, right? Not Garcia. I keep wanting to say Garcia, but it's Garza. He was, big time scorer before them. And it's like, who is that next guy going to be? And Payton Sandfort has been that at times this year, but not always. And that's kind of what you get with a shooter, right? You're not going to get that as often. But I feel like Owen Freeman can be that guy next in the coming years. He's probably not going to be it this year. He's still just a freshman, but in the coming years, I feel like he can be that guy. Sonny, is it crazy to think that Owen Freeman could turn into a big time scorer for Iowa someday?
Anyone can turn into a big time scorer for Iowa. I mean, they're a program that loves to run and love to score, and Fran, he's got that the offensive side down pat. So it's not a stretch at all.
Yeah. What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, definitely, and that's something I had circled on this game too. Was Owen Freeman, and Another guy, who doesn't play a ton of minutes, but his numbers are off the chart when he does, has been Brock Harding. And I think the two of them in the future, I mean, Brock Harding, if you look at his, assist numbers I think like 35% assist percentage, which is crazy. Like it's crazy as a true freshman. Again, it's a guy who doesn't play a ton of minutes, but yeah, Owen Freeman, it's you watch him play, it's easy to forget that he's a freshman as well. But I think those two guys with, Freeman's down low post up ability, his defense has been really, really good. I think those two are the future for this Iowa team.
Yeah, and I think the future of this Iowa team looks bright. They're playing 3 freshmen regularly, and Freeman, Harding, and I forget how to say the one guy's last name, Dembele. And so, yeah, if they can continue on with that. And really the only guys they're losing are Perkins and Creaky. And I haven't even checked if they have eligibility past the I'll have to check that afterward if they have COVID eligibility left remaining. But yeah.
So they're not losing any of the brothers, is that right?
No, McCaffrey is a senior.
I feel like it's been like 10 straight years they've had brothers on their team. It's crazy. Like going back to Murray brothers and yeah.
If McCaffrey is gone after the season, does Fran retire?
I don't think so. Yeah. I think he enjoys it. Yeah. He's having fun. Yeah, he likes getting thrown out of games, and yeah.
I love Fran.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like him, but
I think a lot of Iowa fans take him for granted. Every couple of years he has them contending for the Big Ten, and even years where they're not that great, they're still fun to watch. And he's a coach I wouldn't mind having as a leader of my program.
Oh, and he's like the most winningest coach in Iowa history, right? It's just kind of how it goes. So,
and one thing about Fran's teams, you can never count them out of games. Like think that they're down 15, they're down 20, and they can easily come back and win. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, JR.
No, you're good. I was going to end it there and ask if anybody has any thoughts. So appreciate you filling that in there. So thanks for listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.